that was a dicey ninth inning there from Sir Anthony Dominguez, but he gets Philly killer Rojas to swing and miss in the game, and they snapped their 4-game losing skid. Ricky Vitalicos, we welcome you here now to Phillies Postgame Live, brought to you by Cure Auto Insurance. I mean, you're thinking this is not going well, but in the end, it worked out.
It was definitely dicey. I mean, you look at Brian Anderson, though, up there in the last inning. That's a shocking type at bat because how hard are you going to try to swing? All you got to do is hit one in the gap.
Yeah, bases
These
were
guys
loaded.
are trying to crush the ball. They bring in a pinch hitter. He doesn't get the job done on a pitch he probably should have hit. But more importantly, when you look at this game, you're going up against a very good pitcher in Alcantara, and the Phillies fought. They fought the guy and basically came up with one good inning where they hit after hit after hit, and they break through. That's all you needed. A couple runs.
And it started with a walk in that inning, too, which is important. You talked about how you have to manufacture runs, especially against Alcantara. All right, let's go back down to Miami and check in with Tom and Ruben, who are joined by JT Realmuto. Hey, JT.
JT, Tom and Ruben up here in the booth. Pretty emotional at the end of that game. I mean, that's an exhilarating victory for the Phils.
Yeah, it was a little more excited than I hope it was in the ninth inning, but Sir Anthony got the job done. That's all that matters.
Hey, a great job with Gibson today. Any game plan that you had going into the game? I mean, obviously threw the ball very well in St. Louis. Came back and threw another great game.
Yeah, we're just we're just trying to use his repertoire, what works best for him. You know, not necessarily always trying to attack the hitter's weakness, but kind of more so just attacking with his strengths and letting his ball that moves all over the place work for him. And he did a great job of getting ahead of guys today and keeping us in the ballgame against a really good starting pitcher on the other side.
Yeah, because he matched him, JT. I mean, to give you guys a chance. I mean, you're down 1-0, and the way Alcantara is throwing it, it almost seems like it's 5-0 at times, but he matched him inning for inning for you guys to get the run eventually.
Yeah, that was huge for us, you know, just keeping us in it long enough. Anytime you face a pitcher like that, there's a little more pressure on our starting pitcher just to keep us in the ballgame, but with our offense, we feel like we're never out of it, even with a guy like that on the mound. And Gibby did his job today and kept it close for us and pitched a heck of a game.
And I know you and I have talked over the last couple of days. Was it tough watching while the team was up in Toronto? And I thought your comments today to Jim Salisbury that were on NBC Sports Philadelphia were really good to kind of talk about the trip before Toronto.
Yeah, it was pretty miserable watching, I'm not going to lie. I felt bad that my teammates were out there without me. Just glad it's over with and behind us, and now we can look forward and hopefully, you know, play good baseball for the next couple months and head to the playoffs.
All right, JT, we appreciate it, buddy.
Great
Go
job.
enjoy
Thanks,
it.
man.
Thanks, guys.
All right, JT Realmuto, our guest, helping the Phils to the victory here tonight. It was exhilarating. I love the reaction at the end of the game. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I was fired up. I mean, that was an exciting time. I mean, they have a tough time winning ball games here in this ballpark in particular, and for them to come back against, you know, arguably one of the best pitchers in baseball, to grind it out and to win under a really tough circumstance, it's a big ball game for them.
All right. Well, Amy, Ricky, it's nice to have a victory to talk about to end this 4-game losing streak. Back to you guys.
Yes, it is, Tom. Thanks so much. We'll check in with Ruben Amaro in just a moment. We're also going to hear from Rob Thomson on his team's win. But you heard him talking to JT. I mean, obviously they knew that they weren't going to be able to really solve Alcantara, but they were able to do enough against him.
I mean, the guy threw 41 changeups in the game. That to me is pretty amazing. And he was pretty dominant against left-handed hitters because of that pitch. He was controlling the inside part of the plate with his sinker and fastballs in on the hands, and then going back away with that changeup. Was exceptional, but like I said, all it takes is that one good inning. You saw Kyle Gibson on the other hand. You saw him early in the ball game. Those walks, all the time they will kill you. And in the second inning, you walk the leadoff hitter, and Avisail Garcia ends up coming around to score on a sacrifice fly. But besides that, I thought he was on point. I thought he threw the ball extremely well. There's times in the game where I start to panic.
Yes.
When he's walking around the mound and he starts shaking off pitches, that's when I start getting a little nervous, because that's when his mindset takes over, that he thinks he's stronger than what he's already doing. I think you just keep doing what you're doing until they prove you differently. And then he got kind of back into a groove. I don't like seeing his tempo get changed during a ball game. I thought he did a nice job tonight, though. I mean, after that run was scored, you're thinking to yourself, well, this might turn into 3-4 runs right here, and it didn't. He did a nice little job coming back.
Yeah, he had a one-run game against this same Marlins team about a month ago, and then, of course, he's coming off that good start against the Cardinals. So you're hoping that this is a little bit more of what we're going to see.
They need him.
Absolutely, because we don't know when Zach Eflin is coming back. Ranger Suarez is expected to come back tomorrow.
But you need this guy.
You need this version of Kyle Gibson.
This one and the guy that was in St. Louis, that's the guy you need. And it really does come down to his walks. If he stays away from the walks, that usually means that his pitches are on point. His sinkers are where he wants them. Cutter is a good pitch for him. And the one thing I look for, especially early on in the ball game, is how those hitters are reacting to the pitches down in the zone. Are they tapping them? Are they hitting them into the ground? And if so, it's usually kind of smooth sailing for him.
And he's going to get those. All right, let's go back down to Miami and check in with Ruben Amaro Jr. And Ruben, it is nice to finally talk about a win. Obviously, they wanted to get this started on a high note. We know they don't have a great record in Marlins Park because, this was their 15th win since 2018. But how good was this one? Because you're going against Alcantara, one of the best pitchers in all of baseball.
Yeah, a sweet win for the boys, and Kyle Gibson deserves a ton of credit keeping them in the game. I mean, he could have fallen apart in that second inning when he had second and third and nobody out, and he ended up working himself out of it and limiting the damage. And anytime you can do that against a guy who's very, very stingy with his runs in Alcantara, great job by the guys of grinding it out. I mean, listen, Alcantara was absolutely dominating. And for them to come back and to be able to grind out a win against him, get a couple big base hits. They got a little lucky on a lip ball by J.T. down the line, but hey, we'll take it. They put together some good at-bats there in that inning and ended up coming away with the win.
Ruben, you hit on something during the game cast. The one thing I want you to kind of go into a little bit. Sir Anthony there in the ninth inning, I thought he lost focus. I thought, number one, your focus should be solely on the hitter, obviously. But is that a bench thing? Because I notice he's throwing over to first base. He's visibly, I guess I wouldn't call shaken, but he's visibly like watching over that runner at first base the whole time. Can't do that, can you?
Yeah, I know it is a situation. I mean, listen, speed can make guys nervous. I mean, that's the whole point of having guys with the kind of ability that Billy Hamilton does. But in that situation, I know you've been a closer and you've been in that situation before, where you have a one-run lead, maybe with a runner on who can really run. The priority always has to be the hitter, especially when you get down to 2 strikes. You have to be able to execute your pitches. And if you take your concentration off enough that you don't execute your pitches well, you get into that situation that you had tonight when you walked 2 or 3 guys. And so I got to give Sir Anthony a whole lot of credit, though, because when it came down to having to make the pitch, he made it, and it was a great growth game for him. I think that was great for his confidence, and for him to be able to pull it out, I think that was big. But you're right, Ricky. I mean, the number one priority is the hitter, especially when you get to 2 strikes. Listen, the guy's going to steal the base, but he's not going to score if you can execute your pitches, which he did at the end of the game.
JT said, listen, it's about having Kyle pitch to his strengths instead of the opponent's weaknesses. Right. Is that about him being more consistent? Like, tell me what that looks like going forward for Gibson.
Well, I just think when you think about Kyle Gibson, I think his best pitches are his sinkers and then maybe a cutter in on left-handers' hands at times. But I mean, this is a guy that has good enough stuff to go with 1 or 2 pitches. Mm-hmm. That's what I think JT's referring to. This guy's got 6 pitches. You really don't need 6 pitches. I don't know. I couldn't even figure out where to fit them all in. If you're on the mound, think about what's going through your mind. That's something you don't want from your pitcher. You don't want him thinking out there. You want him to have his game plan, stick to it, and go with it. And that is it. But if something's working from the beginning, stick with that the whole time. Because a lot of pitchers, you will notice, Kyle Gibson, usually when he gets into trouble, he will fall in love with a certain pitch. Mm-hmm. We've seen him do this with his cutter at times during the season, where it's cutter, 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 cutter. And sooner or later, they figure that out, and they're going to blast you a little bit. But he'll keep going back to it. The other thing is that if you're using your sinker and you're getting ground ball out, why bother changing?
If it ain't broke, don't
They're
fix
making it easy on you. And sometimes he gets a little bit overamped. We saw him throw, I bet you, 10, 15 sliders that started away off the plate and went further away. I think he's good enough to throw that middle to middle away and just let it fade off the plate.
Yeah, sometimes he tends to overthink it when you're talking
Way
about
too
this.
much thinking.
Kind of like me when I play golf. Let's check in with
Let's
Rob
not talk
Thomson.
about golf right now.
Rob Thomson down in Miami.
It had been a long time between walks, but that was an awfully big one by Reese.
Yeah, it's huge. We just grinded at bats there for that one inning, and Castellanos hit that ball through the shift, and then Hall with a big double, and JT with a big double, and kind of a bad hop down the line, but we'll take it.
How about that ninth inning? I mean, Sir Anthony with a 33-pitch save.
Yeah.
Did you think Hamilton just kind of unnerved him there?
I don't know. He really should focus on the hitter right there.
Yeah.
Go get him, because his stuff beats most guys. So, but yeah, he lost his own there for a bit, but then he got it back. So we'll take it.
How encouraging was it to get a win over a guy like Alcantara, given how he's pitching lately?
Well, that's how you got to beat him. You got to scratch out some hits and some runs and play good defense and Gibby battled for 6 innings. Alvarado did a great job. Han did a great job, and really Sorrenti did a great job. Just getting back in the zone and finishing that thing off. So that was a great team win. Really was.
That ground ball to Stott by Sanchez, that seemed to reset Sir Anthony
A little bit, yeah. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Any idea where his command is going? Because he hasn't been a guy that he didn't walk a lot of guys.
Well, he hadn't pitched in 4 days,
Right.
and so he was going to pitch tonight no matter what, because I don't want him to go too much more than 4 days. I don't want him to go any more than 4 days, really. So we had talked before the game that he was going to pitch no matter what. It just ended up being the save situation. So, yeah.
We talked about JT defensively pregame, but he has 3 of the 5 hits tonight, including the one that ended the perfect game bid. How important is his bat in moments like that?
Well, big, and it's great to see him come off with the 2 days off, or 3 days off, really, and come back and be with us, and feel like we've got, pretty much most of our team back, and so it feels good for sure.